Hey everybody, I'm Justin with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the Striker Lights RGB Flow Series S650 style headlights, available for all 2018 through 2023 GT and EcoBoost Mustangs. Now, you should be checking out the Striker options if you'd like to implement a combination of that newer S650 tri-bar and headlight styling, along with a full LED operation, and maybe most importantly here, have the ability to change up the colors and the lighting patterns thanks to the RGB technology, all for right around that $1,100 price point. Now, when talking features here, the two biggest, in my humble opinion, will be the unique change in appearance thanks to the modern S650 styling, along with that full color and pattern control thanks to the built-in RGB tech, which, by the way, is user-controlled with a phone app. Now, as far as the basic styling is concerned, well, again, going back to what we said earlier, I'm sure most of you guys have seen the 2024 Mustangs by now and the changes that Ford has made to the front end, and more specifically, the headlights on that car. Now, that being said, that same styling is implemented here for the 2018 through 23 cars, including the signature tri-bars, which were moved basically from the inner portion on the older lights, basically the S550 lights, to the top of the lights here, and those three projectors were given this kind of unique outline, as you can see in that shape, which really did make a big difference in the appearance. Now, these particular headlights do implement all of the unique S650 characteristics into a package designed for the 2018 through 2023 cars. And I have to say, guys, it does work very well. Sometimes the aftermarket tries to kind of force or recreate the new tech on older gens, and it can be hit or miss, but I will say the modern S650 styling does work very well on the later S550 cars. Now, getting back to that second big feature here, the cherry on top will be the 120 different user control modes, endless color options, and more that the Striker headlights are going to offer, again, thanks to that RGB tech. Now, moving into construction, and these headlights will be very similar to the headlights on the stock S650 Mustangs in a lot of different ways, from things like the durable black ABS plastic housings, topped off with that crystal clear polycarbonate lens. Now, behind those lenses is kind of where all the magic happens, right? You're gonna find the layout of three high-powered LED projectors right in line there. Those guys are gonna be outlined with Striker's color shift halos, which, by the way, do also serve as your daytime running light. Now, up top, you are gonna find that tri-bar running light done up in the S650 fashion, like we mentioned earlier. And these aren't only gonna serve as your daytime running light, but also as your turn signal as well. Now, in addition to that, guys, these lights do feature a 100% LED operation, so you're not gonna be sacrificing with maybe downgrading to a halogen or incandescent, and they are going to be a plug and play install. So there's no crazy wiring, no modification needed. It will make for a very simple swap, as we'll show you here in a little bit. I'd also like to mention here, when it comes to aftermarket headlights, yes, you can aim these much in the same way as your stock headlights. So if you do alter your suspension at all, change the ride height, you can dial in the aiming of the headlights properly thanks to the factory style adjustment. Now, moving into price point and coming in at or around that $1,100 kind of ballpark figure here, the S650 style projectors from Striker will definitely be a premium option in the category for owners looking for more of that S650 inspired headlight design. Now, Auto Addict also offers an S650 inspired option, but theirs will not include that RGB functionality, and that's why they will be considerably less than the Striker options that we have on the table today. Regardless, the Strikers at the time of this video will be one of the only options to not only deliver that S650 look, but also that different color changing functionality, and they will absolutely be a more upper end option in the headlight category, along with lights from Morimoto, Oracle, and Alpharex. All right, last but not least, let's shift gears and talk more about the installation. And the Sight Correctly is gonna go middle of the road, 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter here, thanks largely to the plug and play design, but keep in mind the bumper will need to come off in order to swap those lights. So I would say leave yourself a couple of hours to complete from start to finish. But now to give you a better idea of how this one might go down in the garage or driveway at home, let's throw it out to the shop for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, clip remover tool, a few zip ties, an extension, scissors or diagonal cutters, double-sided tape, 7, 8, 10, and 13 millimeter sockets. What's up guys? Today we're installing a set of headlights on our Mustang. First we're going to watch a quick uninstall video showing you how to remove your factory headlights, and then I'll meet you right back here for the install.
Alright, so the first step in our install with your hood popped is to take off the rad support cover with a pop clip removal tool. Go ahead and line up each of these pop clips and take them out one by one. Then you can grab the cover and remove it off of your car. Next up, we're going to remove all of the bolts holding on our front bumper, starting with these small 5.5 millimeter bolts at either side. Grab a 5.5 millimeter socket and a ratchet and get these off. Moving on to the next bolt, this one's an 8 millimeter, so grab an 8 millimeter socket and your ratchet and just get this off. Okay, so now we need to get access to the back of our bumper through the wheel well. We need to remove a pop clip that should be right here. Ours does not have one. Once that's removed, you just need to grab the liner and pull it back to expose two nuts right about here. All right, so right here, this may be hard to see while we're removing them, but these are the nuts that you want to remove in order to separate the bumper from the fender. Grab your 10 millimeter socket and remove these nuts. All right, repeat that process on the other side. Now you can take more of the clips out to get more of the liner out. You can even take your wheel off if you'd like, but you can get to it without removing too many things, so we're gonna try to do that here. Grab your 10 millimeter socket and remove the two nuts that hold your fender to your bumper. Again, you might not see these, but they're in the exact same location as the other side. All right, so at this point, we have the car in the air. Now you don't need a lift to do this. We just want to give you a better shot at the underneath of the car to see what you're supposed to be doing. Grab a 7 millimeter socket. We're gonna remove all of the bolts that are holding on the bottom of the bumper. All right, so at this point, we can release the side of the bumper. So right in between those two nuts that you took off, there is like a pop clip attached to a bracket. So you need to release this to release the bumper. You can go in from the side. If you're concerned about the paint and you still have the wheel well liner out of the way, you can get out from the back here. Just go in between the bracket and release it. Repeat that on the other side. At this point, we can lift the bumper off the top of these posts up here to release it. Pull it down and out of the way, and you should be able to see several connectors. Locate the connectors holding on your bumper still. Go ahead and press and release them, one on each side. Repeat that on the other side. All right, now you can pull the bumper off of your car. So now the bolts holding on the headlight are exposed. We can use our 13mm socket to take off the one on the side. Grab a 10mm socket if you can find one for the bolt on top, closest to the rad support. Then there's one additional bolt all the way at the bottom underneath your headlight. Go ahead and wiggle your headlight loose. Release the connector on the back. And also release this clip that holds on the wiring harness.
So now that we have our factory headlights removed, we just need to get our wiring set up before we install our new headlights. So I've got our harness laid out, kind of how it's going to go here. I've got our 2 terminal connectors running back towards our battery tray. We've got the 2 connectors, one for each headlight. We've got an extension harness to take one to the other side. And then we have our 2 boxes that I'm going to mount right up under this support and then right on the frame back here. Now to secure our 2 boxes, I'm going to use some double-sided tape. So I'm just going to peel off a strip, take a pair of scissors or diagonal cutters to cut that off, and then stick it down on the back. And then just do that same thing for the other one. This one I'm going to go one on each side for. Now I've got this triangle hole right here, so I'm going to feed everything down through. And then I'll peel the double-sided tape backing off of our black box. And I'm going to go right up here on the support, stick that down, and then peel the backing off the other. And I'm just going to go right up onto this frame section here and stick that down. So now we need to remove this cover to get access to our battery so that we can wire up our terminal connectors. Now there's normally going to be a push clip here, here, and here. Ours have somehow all gone missing. So I can just pop this off. You at home, take a clip removal tool, just like for the rad cover, pop those clips out, and then pull it out of the tabs in the back. And then grab your 10mm socket. Now they want you to connect up the negative wire first, so we'll follow that. Let's go ahead and loosen up that 10mm nut. So now just drop your connector down onto that stud. Thread your nut back on. And take a 10mm socket and tighten that down. And then go over to your positive, do the same thing. Then go ahead and pop your nut off, slide your connector on top, thread that nut back on, and tighten it down. So now we just got to clean up our wires. So I'm just going to pull our slack here and then just tuck it into that gap underneath the fender. Run it back towards that battery box. And then just take your excess wire and bunch it up. Grab a zip tie. And then take a pair of scissors or diagonal cutters, cut off the excess of that zip tie. And you tuck your excess wires down into the box. And then go ahead and grab your battery cover. We've got these 3 tabs here that are gonna slide into these slots. Let's get those slid in first. And then drop that down into place. And reinstall your 3 push clips. Now next we're gonna have to take our extension wire to run over to the driver's side for that headlight. So we have our 2 wires that are coming off of our box. I'm gonna keep one here and then go underneath of that support. Plug that extension harness in. And then I'm just gonna go underneath the radiator support bracket. Underneath the other one. And then down into the headlight bucket. And then we'll throw some zip ties up here so that it stays away from anything hot and moving. So now you can run and tie up this wire however you'd like. The way I'm gonna do it is by running a zip tie around this rad support. And then we've got this hole, and then I'm gonna put another zip tie on this other rad support. And that way we'll just keep it nice and tight. You just don't wanna block this hole on both of them because you got a push clip for your rad cover that goes into that hole. So now I'm just gonna get my zip tie, put the wire through it, and around that rad support. Then tighten that down. Once again, take your scissors or diagonal cutters, cut off that excess, and just keep doing that all the way across. Now over in the driver's side headlight bucket, we're not gonna need all this slack. So we're just gonna bunch this up, put a zip tie on it, just for good measure, and then we can move on to installing our headlights. So now we can connect our new headlights. So I'm gonna start with this wire. That's gonna go up to the wire coming off of our box. And then we can get our normal headlight connector. Pop that onto the back. And then just go ahead and slide this into place. And I'm just gonna throw this bolt up top to hold it in. And then we can work on our other 2 bolts. So now we can thread in that other 10 mil bolt at the bottom of our headlight. And then that 13 millimeter at the outside corner of our headlight. And then just get this into position. And then take your 10 millimeter socket, tighten down the first 2. And switch to your 13 millimeter for the last one. And then do that same thing on the other side. So now we're ready to reinstall our bumper. Now for this, I'm gonna grab a buddy just to make it a little bit easier. I'll put him on that side so he can plug in that fog light while I plug in this fog light, and we can raise our bumper up into place. One thing to keep in mind is this splash guard, you want to go inside of the bumper. You don't want this hanging underneath of your chin splitter here, because if you do, you're gonna have a heck of a time getting it back in. So be cautious of that while you're getting it in place. So now once you have your buddy, you can lift up on your bumper, grab your fog light connector, click that into place, and then get your bumper hooked onto those pins up top. Double check your splash guard underneath. And now once you have it in place, just line up your bolts and your push clip going into the fender and pop that up into place, and then we can get our nuts installed. Now we can reinstall all of the bolts at the top of our bumper. Start with the 7mm that's on the 2 outer corners, and then we got the 8mm in between all of those. And then grab your 8mm socket for the 8 mils. Be careful not to over tighten these because they are going into plastic. And then switch to your 7mm socket for your 2 outer screws. And now we can drop our rad cover into place and reinstall all of our clips. Next, we can come to our wheel well, peel back our fender liner, and that will give us access to our 2 bolts to hold the bumper to the fender. So take your 2 nuts, thread them on. And then you can grab your 10mm socket and tighten those down. And then you can replace your fender liner and we'll get those clips installed. And now we can reinstall those 3 clips. And then repeat that same process on the other side. Now we can reinstall all of those screws across the bottom of our bumper. Now you want to make sure that your splash guard is inside your bumper. You don't want this to be hanging under. You won't be able to put your screws in. So we'll just start from the outside here. There's normally one here as well, but we're missing our U-clip on the other side. Now I'm going to get my 7mm socket on an extension for these underneath. And then throw your ratchet on the other side of that. Tighten all of these down and do the same thing on the other side. So now in our app, at the home screen, the first thing we have is this toggle button. That's going to be your on and off switch. So we'll turn them on, hit enter to go into our customization mode. Now we have all of our colors at the bottom that you can choose from. And then up at the top you have your DIY colors, so you can move this slider back and forth. Just choose your color. And then you also have brightness adjustment down at the bottom. Now if you go up top here and click where it says solid, it'll turn it to your auto mode. From there, if you click it again, you can go into all of your different dance modes. So just by moving the wheel, you have 120 different options here. Now if you find one you like, you can hit this heart up here and it'll add it to your favorites. So there's a little red line up there now so that you can get back to it and it will come up with our heart. And then when you want to shut them off, just go back to that home screen and turn your toggle switch off. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Striker Lights RGB Flow Series S650 style headlights with standard controller, matte black housing, and clear lens for your 2018 to 23 Mustang GT and EcoBoost. Thank you for watching, and for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.